So I've been feeling inspired to film a smoldering eye with Red Hot Lips beauty tutorial. So for the smoldering effect, I went with a single eyeshadow by Hourglass in the color Burnish. I wanted a warm orange tone brown, which is going to create a very sensual, smoldering eye look. And this look is actually very easy and simple for me to do, but it still looks very elegant without too much effort. So as you can see, I am building up the color to get the right intensity that I want before smoking out the color. I am only using this one color today because I still want the emphasis to be mostly on the lips. However, I still want to add some emphasis on the eyes, because at the end of it all, the eyes are truly the window to the soul. I'm all about the eyes. They're my favorite part to play with when doing my makeup. So at the end, my eyes are still enhanced and interesting looking. Now I am working the color inwards towards the nose because I want to create a sultry, almost like vampy, deeper eye effect. So I'm applying the color almost where you would apply bronzer to define and contour the nose. This creates a very sultry kind of eye. Now moving on to base, I'm using the Tilbury Flawless Filter as my primer in the color 5. I have this in the color 3 and 5, but I went with this color because I wanted my skin to look extra warm and sun-kissed. Color 5 is what I use when I want to look extra warm and peachy. Then for foundation, I'm using today the Wander Beauty Wanderlust powder foundation in the color 10. Now in order to ensure that I can still maintain that glow while using a powder-based foundation, I like to use a cushion sponge which I slightly mist some water on. And then instead of rubbing on my skin, I push the powder in by dabbing onto my skin. This technique will give a very natural, sheer, skin-like finish to me, and it will ensure that I still have that very fresh, youthful glow which we all love. Now, as I mentioned in my previous 2 videos, I cannot stop raving about how much I've been adoring powder foundation this past summer. I cannot get enough of that very sophisticated velvet glow. It is really, really beautiful. Then for concealer, I've been loving the Peau Beauty Concealer in the color Ocher. The coverage is actually really impressive and it has a hydrating, creamy texture. From what I can remember, it contained hyaluronic acid, argan oil, SPF 27, and so much more. I'm really going to be using this concealer more. It blends like a dream, whether I use my fingers or my concealer brush. So yeah, I'm very impressed by the coverage and formula. I apply a little bit of the concealer under my eyes to slightly sharpen the look of my eyes, making it look more vampy. Then I apply a little bit of brightening around my lips as my skin is a little bit darker there. I just buff it in for a natural finish. Now to ensure everything still feels silky and velvet-like, I apply a little bit of my powder foundation on top of it. For brows, I'm using both by Tilbury the eyebrow pencil and gel in the color Soft Brown. So I just follow the natural growth of my brows, which in my case is downwards. I just make brushing downstrokes, and then I take the other side of the pencil and I start brushing them to soften any harsh lines, which you will see me do in a second. Then to finish my eyes, I'm going back in with the Hourglass color Burnish. First, using a small flat shading brush, applying under the eyes, and I really want to first build up the desired intensity before using a more fluffy blending kind of brush to smoke out the color. I chose this beautiful reddish Chanel eyeliner in the color Eros, which I can see where they got the name from as Eros, or what we now mostly know today as Cupid, the god of love and passion, making people fall in love by shooting his arrow. This color is the perfect representation of that, with its beautiful romantic red warm color, which will definitely add a touch of sensuality to the eyes. The mascara I'm using for this look is by Tilbury. It's the Pillow Talk Push-Up Mascara in the color Dream Pop. As I mentioned before, I wanted the emphasis to be mostly on the lips while still enhancing the eyes. So instead of using a black mascara, I'm using a more reddish brown tone mascara. And this is one of the things that I love about doing red lipstick makeup looks, is when doing red lips, you can even get away using no mascara if you like, and the makeup would by no means look incomplete. Red lips are just very bold and powerful looking and can absolutely stand their own. That's the beauty of red lips. Now that I'm finished with the eyes, I am bronzing up my skin with the NARS Laguna bronzer in the original shade number 2. So I just suck in my cheeks and apply it in the hollows, and then I work my way up to the temples and to the sides of my face. And I only use a little bit as this powder is very, very pigmented. And then I like to apply some extra bronzer also under my jawline for some extra definition. So now for a little extra soft glow, I'm using the Laura Mercier Matte Radiance Baked Powder in the color 01. So this gives off a very ethereal, pearlescent glow. I am using this on the high points of my cheeks, nose, and chin, and a little bit above the lips. This highlighter is going to make my skin look very dreamy looking. And then I also apply some of that same highlighter on the inner corners of my eyes and a little bit on my brow bone. Now the star of the show, the Red Hot Lips. I'm using the NARS liquid lipstick in the color Star Woman. I wanted a matte red lip for this look as it creates a more bold effect. Now I do want to be a little bit careful with this lipstick as I don't want to overline my lips too much. And this is something you really want to take your time with, as this lipstick is incredibly pigmented. But that is why I love NARS red lipsticks, as they're very bold and they're perfect for today's vampy makeup look. For my cheeks, I'm using first a cream blush, which I always do. And I'm using the Armani Neo Nude Color Balm in the color 51, which is a mauve toned pink, and it mimics that natural rose kind of flush that we sometimes get. I like to apply my blush on the apples of my cheeks first, and then I slightly work my way up to my cheeks. I try not to apply the blush too low as I don't want to bring down my face. I want to keep things looking youthful and fresh. Also, the formula of this blush when applying is by far the most beautiful, elegant, buttery texture I've ever felt in a cream blush. A very unique feel, and it dries down to a matte finish. And then to keep everything looking seamless, I push everything in with my beauty sponge as I'm using a combination of creams and powder products to keep everything looking seamless. Now I am topping it off with a powder blush, and the one I'm using is also by NARS, and this is in the color Dolce Vita. And I'm applying this in the same way as I applied my cream blush, working from the apples of my cheeks slightly upwards and then a little extra on my nose, which I think looks cute, so why not? So now the only thing for me left to do to complete everything is setting my under eyes with my go-to Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush setting powder in the shade 2 Medium. I apply this under the eyes and around my nose, and that is it. So this is the final look, smoldering eyes with red hot lips. I really like these kind of looks for when I want my makeup to be very quick and easy, but still very polished and elegant without too much effort. So for me, this type of makeup is great for that, and on top of that, it's very vampy looking, which is my kind of look.